Oracle, with an annual revenue of over $26 billion and employing over 135,000 people, Oracle has become one of the largest database software and technology companies in the world. How did a man who dropped out of college twice and who was told he is good for nothing end up creating a life that only 0.00036% of the world's population belong to? In today's episode, we will discuss the life of Larry Ellison. Larry's story starts in one of the darkest times in human history. The world is at war. Approximately 6 million Jews and 5 million others were targeted for racial, political, ideological, and behavioral reasons. When some Jews tried to flee the Nazi regime to make their way to America, the American government and the public did not want to accept them. They worried that accepting refugees would put citizens at risk. Luckily, a Jewish woman who already lived in America did not have to return to Europe, but she had to live in a place where Jews were not welcomed. Florence Spellman was safe from the Nazis in the Bronx, but she had her own battle, giving birth to a baby outside of wedlock. Keeping in mind this is the 1940s, only 3.8% of all U.S. births were to unmarried women. For an unmarried woman to give birth was life-altering. Florence gave birth to Ellison in 1944 in the Bronx. When Ellison was 9 months old, he contracted pneumonia, and his mother had to send him to his aunt and uncle, Lillian and Louis Ellison. The family Ellison was now in was poor. He grew up in a Jewish Reformed family in Chicago. While his adoptive mother was warm and loving, Ellison described his adoptive father as cold. His father would repeatedly tell him that he was good for nothing. The societal norm for him at the time was to become a doctor like most Jewish boys. But Ellison did not wish to follow this path. He also rejected his religious upbringing as he got older, refusing to have the traditional Jewish bar mitzvah at 13. Ellison grew up in the Chicago South Side. As ambitious as he is today, his passion was not seen in his teenage years. Ellison did graduate high school and went on to study at the University of Illinois. At Illinois, he was named Science Student of the Year, but sadly in his second year he heard sad news. His loving adoptive mother had passed away. This affected him deeply, for a man whose birth mother gave him for adoption. Losing his loving adopted mother was not easy for Ellison. He could no longer concentrate on his studies and decided to drop out. He later enrolled at University of Chicago but dropped out after the first semester. At 22, Ellison moved to Berkeley, California, a place where the tech industry was taking off. He worked at companies like Wells Fargo and Amdahl. Along the way, he learned programming skills. He once said that, "I never took a computer science class in my life. I got a job working as a programmer. I was largely self-taught. I just picked up a book and started programming." Ellison's kept improving his programming skills as he bounced from job to job. The turning point came when Ellison found himself working for Ampex, which had a contract to build a database for the CIA, codenamed Oracle. In 1977, he and two co-workers left Ampex to start a database management company of their own, Software Development Laboratories. The company started with $2,000 of funding, of which $1,200 was from Ellison's own pocket. They got into their 900-square-foot office in California and got to work. The company went through phases of names. In 1979, the company renamed itself Relational Software, and in 1982, it formally became Oracle. The company's office was now located in the same space as venture capitalists, which provided tremendous networking. Ellison knew the power of branding and leveraged it over lunches and casual encounter on a daily basis. 9 years after launching their company from a 900-square-foot office, Oracle had its initial public offering, reporting revenue of $55 million. But then the company started booking their sales in advance, which resulted in wrong numbers, causing lawsuits for them. Oracle had to lay off 10% of its workforce, about 400 people, because of what Ellison later described as an incredible business mistake. From there, it did not get any better. As the company was recovering from their mistake, the dot-com bubble was near. Oracle was on the verge of bankruptcy. As the time went by, new tech companies were emerging during the dot-com boom, and Oracle was there to provide them with a safe and secure database. Ellison started investing in startups. One of the companies he invested in is now reportedly worth $200 billion, founded by one of his protégés, Salesforce.com. By 2007, Oracle had 275,000 customers worldwide, hitting a whopping $18 billion in revenue. Ellison is known for demanding professionalism and nothing less. He applies a slow-to-hire and quick-to-fire approach that weeds out unmotivated employees. In 2014, Ellison officially stepped down as Oracle CEO, handing controls over to Hurd and Katz, who became co-CEOs. Ellison now serves as the company's chairman and chief technology officer. After stepping down, some of his purchases include NetSuite's Indian Wells tennis tournament, investing in Tesla. Ellison never set out to make a fortune. He once said that, "When I started Oracle, what I wanted to do was to create an environment where I would enjoy working." But Ellison is much more than just making money. He signed the Giving Pledge. He has promised to donate 95% of his fortune before he dies. And in May 2016, Ellison donated $200 million to a cancer treatment center at the University of Southern California. He has also given hundreds of millions of dollars to charity, particularly medical research and education. For a boy who grew up in times when his religious beliefs were not necessarily welcomed in the country, whose dad told him he is not good for anything, who lost 2 mothers, has come a long way. If it was not for him to pick up a book and learn coding, he would not have been able to help out the various charity organizations he is involved in. So do not be afraid to learn something new. You never know who you may end up helping. Until next time, have a good one.